So, hey everybody, this is Jared Buffington back with another episode of Play to Win Heroclix podcast, where we talk about the competitive play of Heroclix and the meta, and also some for fun stuff. Got a lot to talk about today, so we're going to get into it. As some of you know, I was trying to save up so that I could get to the Melbourne Super qualifier that was hosted by Ryan from Glass Cabinets, and I did manage to get there, and it was awesome. Let me say that it's from this event, it was the most awesome event and also the worst that I've ever placed in an event all at the same time. I have a tip for you too if you're listening to this. James, who placed top 8 at the ROC. Some of you guys know James as the guy who first played the standard Krange team back in April. He said he listens to the podcast and just puts it on double time speed through the YouTube app. So if you want to listen to this quickly and listen to more podcasts, that's a great way to just listen to a bunch of stuff quickly. And shout out to James if you're listening. He might come up and stay with me and my family during the ROC Cup this October. So big up to James. So first of all, let's talk about how I did at the tournament. So I showed up and I played the Quinn jet. Okay, I played a version of the German Nationals Championship team of the Quinn jet with the Quinn jet, Jarvis, Ultron Future drone, Ultron 6, Atomica, and I had 9 ID cards. My 9 ID cards were 8 of them were the standard option, except for I play Green Arrow at 135 instead of at the 85, and I play what's the other thing? I play Trinity Wars Batman instead of Black Canary. But because of Jarvis, I was able to have a 9th ID card, and my 9th ID card was Ronin, because I just had a gut feeling that nobody was going to play Lex Luthor, so I didn't play Black Canary, and I was thinking, if somebody plays Midnight Suns, that Ronin will come in handy, and against some of the Skull Ship teams, Ronin has that damage output with either the Flurry or the Exploit, and the Blades, Claws, and Fangs. So my ID card characters were Iron Man to pilot the ship, the Atom, Colossal to either just get out first turn, call him in with Atomica and get the dial up quicker, or to actually have him as, a real boy, a full character. I played Red Tornado because Red Tornado does what Red Tornado does. Who were the other ID characters? Green Arrow, like I said, 135 because he's just brilliant with that 12 attack, precision strike, and can shoot through basically anything. Nick Fury, of course. Peggy Carter, of course. Trinity Wars Batman. Usually played him at 85. Who were the other 2? Ronin, like I said, and Nightwing, of course, and Nightwing. Yep. So that was what I was playing, and I did not do the research for this tournament. I did not do my research at all, and remember, I've been playing the game since December. I know it might seem like I haven't been playing since December because I'm somewhat competent about the game and gaining experience quickly, but I've only been playing since December. So I've never been in the competitive scene where the meta has shifted so drastically, unbeknownst to me, like because of a set coming out. Like from December until Worlds, the meta didn't crazy shift because of a set. besides maybe Krange, but the shift wasn't even there yet with Krange because the batteries were still out before Worlds, and then Worlds was there, the zombie team base was. So it wasn't even that crazy of a thing. And the shifts that did happen were well publicized. Everyone knew and everyone was prepared for it somewhat. But literally from a few weeks ago, me being at Lee's, Alabama, playing the Quinjet, getting 6th. And if I would have had the Quinjet team that I played this weekend at Leeds, Alabama, I would have made top 4, maybe top 2, because remember, I didn't play Iron Man because I thought that Jarvis could give him sidestep, and I played Casey Wonder Woman because I thought you could bring her out 25. I didn't have the Atom on my team. I didn't have the Atom ID card, which is so crucial just for momentum. So I believe if I would have played the team, because my team kind of didn't have the right flow of the Quinjet, I would have done even better then. A couple weeks later, I come to this tournament, and I'm completely shut down. Like, I didn't even make top 8. Patrick was there. Majestics was there. Patrick and Justino came out. A lot of people from South Florida came out. And but even Patrick didn't make top 8, which he didn't play the Quinjet. We can get into what he played later. But that made me feel a little bit better that the world champion didn't make top 8 either. But I show up, and not doing the right research because of Superior Foes of Spider-Man, it actually completely phased out the Quinjet. And I'm going to say this, I know some people have been saying it lately, that, Quinjet's dead. The Quinjet is dead. It went from the most dominant team to not being really able to compete much right now. And for the Quinjet to be competitive, it's going to have to evolve. It's going to have to shift. So I sat down first game, and I played a standard Krange team. And I mean standard, like Ultron Drone, Baxter, Justin, Krange. There might have even been a Pandora's box and some ID cards. And I think the game took all of 10 minutes until I won. It was not even a competition. He came up and hit the jet. Instead of running back, he hit twice. And I called out Nick Fury and Red Tornado and killed him. And that was the game. Game number 2, I played against Isaiah, which Isaiah is not an official part of our team, but he's a part of our local venue and one of only a handful of players that are competitive. And so he is a part of our play testing and practicing. So we play with him once a week, and before big tournaments, we'll play with him probably another time, maybe 2 times a week instead of 1. And he's a part of our, play group, and we talk and we team build and we share pieces. And he came, and he actually ended up placing 3rd. He actually placed 3rd at this thing, which was huge. He is a great player, great at time control, great at threat assessment. And we played, and he wins map roll, which totally killed me, him winning map. If I win map, I think that I would come away with the victory. But he won map, and we played on some type of indoor map. I don't remember what it was called. And he played Devil Dinosaur, Nighthawk Prime, Mitzelplick, Pandora's Box with Envy and Wrath, and Ultron Drone. And he played Black Canary, Nightwing, and Nick Fury on the ID cards. And the whole problem with this team was it's hard to get a kill, and it's hard to score any points. There was almost no opportunity for me to score any points at all. He pops out the Pogs. He sends the Pogs out, the ones with the running shot pen blast. And I'm sitting there with the jet, trying to crank up the jet and move. And I realize, wow, he's going to get a couple shots at me, and he does not have to come at me. And I'll have to waste ID card characters on shooting little Pogs if I don't move up. So I move across turn 2 to the map to where I'm close enough that next turn I can base Nighthawk and get my pumps back, which the Quinjet needs pumps. like it lives off of pumps, or it can kill the Ultron drone. I get in position. Then he calls out Nightwing with the Ultron drone. Uses his perplexes, runs up and kills Atomica. Right? Kills Atomica, and then with the Ultron drone does exactly what you're supposed to do. Sidesteps back after the call-in so that Nightwing disappears. And when he did that, I started to get worried a little bit, because I thought at least I'm going to get to kill the Nightwing and get 100 points and put him on tilt. But now I'm on tilt, losing 25 points, and really he has 30 points because I've already called in a character, and now I got to kill something and either try to go through Devil Dinosaur, waste an ID card character on trying to get Ultron drone. And it's a little bit harder because now the perplexes aren't coming in, which when you can't perplex up the damage and you have to give 4 damage on a 30-point character to kill the Ultron drone, it becomes a less viable option. And then Nighthawk Prime has energy shield shape change, and Mxyzptlk is 17 with a tiny, and there's he has a little die on the side. I think in the beginning he had a 4 on his die, so it wasn't defensively scary, but it's tough. So I couldn't do anything. I basically, I think, cleared and moved the Ultron drones around to try and save them, and he came out next turn with what he did was he hit my Ultron drone with one of his pogs. He killed an Ultron drone with a pog. Now I have one Ultron and the ship, and I go up and I base Nighthawk Prime, because then I'll get my pumps back, and because I did not have a shot at his Ultron drone, or at anyone for that matter, because of how he positioned, and he was back behind a couple walls. And then he just starts the lockdown with Mitzi. Finally, towards the end of the game, I start dealing out some damage. Who did I hit? No, I got a couple shots at Mitzi and missed because I wasn't getting pumped, so it's hard to hit Mxyzptlk. But last turn, I think, with Ronin, I had a couple shots at Mxyzptlk, because I would move Jarvis to base Nighthawk, use perplexes. I got out Peggy Carter at one point, and I had an 11 on a 17 or an 18. I had some chances to kill Mxyzptlk, but by the end I couldn't connect. I couldn't hit. He had probs, he had stuff, and what did I do? Last action, kill his Nighthawk Prime, because Ronin charges. I use blades. I roll a 6 with the last action and kill Nighthawk Prime right as they call last action. So, he won, and it put me in a situation where the Quinjet is giving away the lead with the ID cards. I'm not getting pumps. I don't have a shot at Nighthawk unless I place myself so that I get the Mitzi lockdown. And it really was choose your death, pick your poison type of thing. And that team was really, really strong. And, I'm really considering looking at that team. It's slower with Mxyzptlk because you don't have the Frogman, so you actually have to push to get it, but that shouldn't be a problem with using the dice either for defense or for offense with the Pogs, and you do another power action to get another dice and, push, and, you're ready to go. But it's a very slow team. It's very much not offensive, and he ended up losing to Justino from Majestics with... got to meet him and talk to him a little bit. Justino is awesome. He came wearing a Punisher shirt. I was wearing a Punisher shirt. He had Punisher action tokens. I thought we were going to have a Highlander thing and I was going to be the one. But he ended up being the one and placing second. But he got cool points for the Punisher shirt. But he ended up losing to Justino with the Sinister Syndicate team because the mobility is so strong that he's gonna get swings on characters, plus they can't use. And when Mitzi's gone, that team is basically just sitting there, not able to put out offense, just waiting for you to kind of hit it and hoping to connect with ID cards. So when you take out Mitzelplick from that team, looking back, I should have really, really saved up for the best shot on Mitzelplick and went for it, because the team goes all the way down without Mitzelplick. But anyway, so I played Isaiah. So now I'm 1-1 going into round 3. And they break for lunch at that point. We come back, which is weird. I know they break before the cut, but it was actually well needed. So we get back, and I end up playing Mark from Corca Comics, which Corca Comics is another local store that we usually only go to in South Florida for pre-releases. But we see them around. They usually will go out to a WKO or ROC in Florida, and they are a great group of people. Brittany Santiago plays there. Her husband plays there. Mark, Roberto, I think that's his name, Roberto. No, Ricardo. Ricardo, he plays there a lot, but he kind of plays a little bit of everywhere. But that whole crew and team was there, and they did the research, which I should have, clicked off what's his name? Crampton. I forget his first name. Scott Crampton and Kevin Afru's show. They posted an episode on Friday, and I didn't listen to it. If I would have listened to it, they went over the Dragon Con results, and I would have known about the new changes in the meta. I would have known that Patrick had already denounced the Quinjet, and I hadn't heard any of that, but they apparently heard it because they played the evolution of Krange. And I got news for you. Both of them played it, Ricardo and Mark, but I played Mark in this round. Krange is back. Krange is scary, and Krange has morphed from a brute into a dragon. And why I say that he's a dragon now is because he is now a dragon guarding his nest, hoarding treasure, and is not ultra offensive. So the change is with the team, instead of an Ultron drone, instead of a resource, you play Ant-Man. 50-point Ant-Man. They win map. They played, I think, Morlock tunnels, something crazy like that, indoor map with a lot of walls, to where it's literally like a dragon's nest. Like, to get a shot at them without going to their doorstep, you'd have to break 2 or 3 walls to get a shot, a range shot. So he turtled up, and all he was doing was moving Ant-Men, producing ant pogs, and sending the ant pogs toward me. Alright, I'm calling in ID characters. I call in a Nightwing and an Atom just to get the dial up, and I'm just giving away points as I inch up toward him. Alright, now this is bad for me because I'm not getting a clear shot, and if I get shots, I'm not getting the 1-2 combination that the Quinjet really needs. Because the Quinjet thrives off of calling in something from the drone and then calling out a resource dial, or power action calling something in from the ship and then calling out from the resource dial. And that 1-2 combination allows you to get off those crazy, 10 damage turns that you need, or 8 clicks of damage output that you need to really be a standout with the Quinjet. So what I do is I wait till I get the dial high enough through clearing and through calling those 2 people out, and I move up with the Quinjet and pop out Trinity Wars Batman at 85 and charge and take out Justin. And I want to say I did the math wrong. I just assumed that Trinity Wars Batman's speed was 9, but it's actually 8. And I had a total of 4 perplexes with Batman, Jarvis, Iron Man, and the Jet, because I had Iron Man and the Jet from turn 1, and from Tony Zuko, And so I perplexed up speed twice and damage twice because I needed the 4 damage to kill Justin. And I did a charge because I thought he had 5 move charge, and I perplexed up movement twice. But really he has 8 movement. I would have had to use 3 perplexes on the movement to get there, and it wouldn't have been enough damage to kill. And I didn't catch it. He didn't catch it until 2 or 3 turns later. And shout out to Mark from Corca. Like, he didn't get pissed. He wasn't petty about it. You know, he had every right to accuse me of, you know, being a poor sport or not having good gamesmanship. But he didn't do any of that. He just said, well, you know, what's done is done. And it didn't affect his game. It didn't affect his mindset. He was still cool, calm, collected. And, you know, he ended up winning. Awesome guy, great player. You know, even with that, he was able to outplay me, and it was awesome. So I killed Justin, even though it's illegally, but at the time I killed Justin. He hits Batman with Ant-Man, forgetting that Batman's a real boy, and Batman completely goes away without him getting the points, right? So then he moves and he kills the Quinjet, and I call out Red Tornado, and I either completely kill, I kill, what's his name? Oh my gosh. No, what I do is I do 2 damage to Baxter Stockman, and I outwit his heal power. Then he ends up killing Red Tornado. We talk about him doing a weird thing, because I end up killing Baxter Stockman next turn with something else. And he was arguing he had the +2 defense from Krange, but he didn't, because he did not yet choose to go Colossal and was forgetting, and we went back and forth for a while. And you know, he realized, oh, okay, you don't have the prob. I killed the Baxter Stockman, and they called time, which next turn I would have had to clear the jet, but then the dial would have been at 120. I would have called out Nick and been able to kill Krange. But with all that said, I don't even feel cheated. I don't feel mad. You know, the clock is a part of it. And his gamesmanship was superior. And even if it was on purpose, you know, he owed me one, since I did a mystical charge for an extra mystical space. Great guy, great game. He placed, I think, top 4. Want to say top 4. Wait, no, he got top 8, but not top 4. Both him and Ricardo were eliminated top 8. So now I'm 1-2, and there's 29 players, and I still think somewhat in my mind that there's a chance if I go 2-2 I'll make the cut, because some 2-2s made it in Lee's, Alabama, and there's only 29 players, and some of the players are doing very bad and have very bad teams and are not scoring very much points at all. So I sit down now. I play against my teammate, Todd James, a.k.a. Solomon, a.k.a. Star Fox. If you see him, call him Star Fox. And we sat down from each other. He's playing the Skull Ship with Pandora's Box and Solaris, with a robot theme team, or with not robot theme team, cosmic theme team. And I'm playing the Jet, and we've play tested against this Skull Ship, and I basically hate playing against the Skull Ship. It has 16 clicks of life. It has energy shield because of the relic. It starts off with invincible, and every 5 clicks gets invincible again. And it's super hard to kill. And he calls in ID characters like the Lex Luthor team. It's the same. The way that you really play Skull Ship is you play it like a tank version of the Lex Luthor team. You have the exact same ID card call-ins. You use Pandora's Box to give him energy shield, and it puts you in this place because you call out Nick Fury, you perplex him up what do you either can't use the invincible or you can't use energy shield. Either way, it's going to be hard to hit, and Nick's gone. It's very, very hard to kill. So I would get out some wins in playtesting, but a lot of times, he would win, and it was very hard for me to win. And when he calls out the ID characters, he sidesteps back afterwards, and ID cards go away. So this game we play, and usually he kills, he tries to kill my drones, but I learned how to position to where he can't get a shot at my drones because he plays War Machine, 200-point War Machine, but War Machine, even though he ignores hindering, he doesn't ignore characters. So you position the drones behind either blocking terrain or behind the jet, which we played in the Grand Canyon, the ROC map. Or you position it behind the Quinn jet so that he can't take a shot at the drones. So I did that. He calls in War Machine, and I had a real boy Trinity Wars Batman out like from turn 2 or turn 3 because I got good rolls on the dial, and he gets greedy, running shots up with him, does a energy explosion and kills my Trinity War Batman, and does damage to some other stuff, and he doesn't sidestep back afterwards. So I call out Nick Fury, and I call out Peggy with the resource dial, and I perplex up, do all my perplexes to Nick Fury. I move up Peggy Carter without shooting, and I say can't use impervious, and with Nick I say can't use energy shield. I hit for 6 with Nick. No, I end up hitting for 5 with Nick. No, I hit for 6. Put War Machine on click 7, and then I took a running shot with the Quinn jet, 11 attack on a 16 defense, and hit and killed his War Machine. So now he's on tilt, right? Oh, I forgot to say this. In the beginning, I call out Green Arrow, and I hit a big shot, which when we play in practice, I normally miss this shot. But I hit with Green Arrow onto the Skull Ship, and I have his damage perplexed up to 6, so the Skull Ship takes 3 clicks off rip. So now it's vulnerable because it doesn't have the invincible, so Nick can just do penetrating and say can't use energy shield. So he got kind of thrown off by that because in our testing that normally didn't happen. So he took the bait for the Trinity War Batman. I kill War Machine. Then I take a shot with Peggy Carter next turn. Even though she already has a bead, I perplex up her damage to 5. I say can't use energy shield because the Skull Ship's close enough for her to say can't use, and I take a shot for 5 with with Peggy Carter, and it doesn't work. She pushes and dies, but I say what the heck, I was going to try and kill her ship, or kind of just balls to the walls type of thing. Next turn, so he cleared, and the next turn he calls in Wonder Woman. He sends the Wonder Woman out, charge, flurry, super strength, and he hits the jet. I think he does all the damage to the jet and gets the jet almost done. So now with only 2 ID cards, I have my next turn, and I call out Nightwing. I call out Nightwing, and I call out Ronan with the resource dial. I go and I perplex up Ronan to have, I think, 6 damage. And so, I perplexed up his attack to 12 and damage to 5, and he had Empower from the ship because the Quinjet was on a click where it had Empower. So, I charge, and I don't do the flurry or the blades. I do exploit on Wonder Woman. I hit Wonder Woman for 6 clicks. So now Wonder Woman's on click 7, right? I charge, I perplex up, now that I have Tony Zuko, wait, 1, 2, yes, no, so I hit with 11 on 18. Okay, yeah, so I perplexed up his damage to a 5. No, okay, so that's what I did. Yeah, I perplexed up attack once on Ronan and damage up 1, and he got 5 from the Empower. Then I charged Flurry with Nightwing with his damage perplexed up to a 4, and he's next to Ronan, which Ronan's inspiration is +1 attack. Am I thinking that's right? Well, either way, whichever one had the inspiration, this is what I did, okay? So I hit with Nightwing, connects, then I hit again, I take the Mystics, and Wonder Woman dies, and I have a total of 400 points now without, killing the Skull Ship. So, that was basically the game right then. He conceded. We were both super on tilt about that game because he was 2-1. I was 1-2. He thought that if he went 3-1, he would have made it. And I thought if I went 2-2, and because now I had, with that 400, I think killed Solaris at some point, had 435 or 440, something like that, with all the ID cards. And so I'm thinking, wow, I got 1,000 points on my sheet. I'm the highest point 2-2. And he was super bummed because he thought he just played himself out. But we come to realize, even if he won and went 3-1, there was a 3-1 with more points than him that didn't make the top 8. And neither of us made top 8. And I learned so much about doing your research and following the shift, of the meta. I never had the meta shift so drastically on me before. And, I'm not going to learn that again. So our team captain, if we're the Avengers, he's Iron Man and I'm Captain America. I'm the first Avenger because Todd and I had a team beforehand, and I was the leader of that team. But he's Iron Man because he is actually better by all measurements right now. And he's, we do Joe's school of Heroclix because he's the one who taught us to play Heroclix competitively. Joe won. Joe played Mitzelplick, Frogman, Ultron Drone, Fast Forces Jean Grey, and get this, World's Finest, with a couple ID cards and Pandora's Box. So when we were play testing, and in testing with the World's Finest, because the World's Finest can use duo attack, and it doesn't get damage depletion because his trait says stats cannot be decreased. So you get perplexed from Pandora's Box, you perplex him up to 5 or 6 damage, or to 6 or 7 damage actually, and you send a drone out also and call out Nick. And with Nick you're doing 4. With World's Finest, you're doing 7, and you're putting out 18 clicks of damage, and he was taking out Quinjets on turn 2 or turn 3 with his team. And when we saw that he could just, by sheer power, take out the Quinjet, because then he, with Mitzelplick, can, he can possibly lock down the ship. Also after that, so that there's no retaliation, and it was brutal. So he ended up playing that, and he took everybody by surprise. The fact that you win a tournament, and it wasn't like it was just a small little tournament, because we had the world champion Patrick, we had another Majestics player Justino, we had the guy who invented the Krange team there, we had Warren there, which, if you don't know who Warren is a great mind of Heroclix and a great player. He plays like a version of the Krange team, but it's Solaris, and it's annoying as crap. And he was there, so it wasn't like it was just not good players there. It was a great showing of players, and Joe won with this World's Finest. And for me, I was telling him to play World's Finest, because anytime you play World's Finest or Superman, you automatically win. For me, Superman's my favorite, and if you can make him work, just the fact that he found a way to make that piece work was like, man, you know, I want to play this team, you know. So he played it. I didn't watch all of his games, but I did watch the finals and record the finals, which you'll be able to see. And on my channel, he played against Justino. Justino wins map. Okay, he picks the same map. If you watch the Majestics, the California ROC State Championship, the same map that Justino was picking with his Nick Fury team, he picked that map, and not the canyon map, but the other one with the walls and stuff. He, you know, positioned up, move up with Overdrive, and he was playing Overdrive, OP Doc Ock, Speed Demon, and Chameleon, and he was switching out Chameleon for Peggy Carter. So he moves up behind the wall positions, was not prepared for this move. Okay, nobody was prepared for this move. Joe, Ultron Drone, free TKs out the Ultron Drone, calls out 75-point Hawkeye from the movie, moves up Frogman to him, and knocks Hawkeye into the wall to put Hawkeye on click 2, where he can improve targeting, shoot through walls, and also use running shot and range combat expert together, and energy explosion. So he running shot, shoots through the walls, range combat, and energy explosion, hits the ship, does 2 clicks to Peggy Carter, does 2 clicks, you know, does whatever damage to the ship, and does some damage to Speed Demon. So everybody's damaged off rip. I mean, it was awesome. And then he TKs back the drone, and Hawkeye disappears. So when he did that, I mean, and we went and watched the MMA fight later with the Majestics guys and Ryan and Warren's wife later. And if you watch the fight, it was the fight before the main event, and the guy runs out and does a flying face kick to the guy. That's the equivalent of what Joe did on turn 2 to Justino. He just flew out there. If you would have saw everybody's face when he pushed Hawkeye into the wall and then shot through the walls, because everybody thought Justino was safe, like that the conflict wasn't going to start yet. I mean, it was amazing. Just that Joe would do some crap like that. It was awesome. And so he does that, and basically there's a back and forth. World's Finest, you know, breaks a wall, and you know, he does a Mitzelplick shutdown. Then he calls out Triathlon to kill the ship, and then it hits Speed Demon again, and then Speed Demon goes down later, and Justino actually didn't get, I don't think he killed any figures from my recollection, but the video is going to be on our channel. It was great to see Joe win, because Joe is like a local kind of legend, and I would say this, not a legend that is admired, more a legend that is I don't even know, respected. Respect is not the word, because people talk crap about him. It's I guess it's more feared. I guess it's feared because when Joe shows up at a event, you know, battle royale like the Civil War, he shows up when there's a good prize. Everybody's mad because they know that at best they're probably going to get second right now. And but he's kind of a local legend, the fact that everybody knows he's a tier 1 type of player. He just hasn't had tier 1 exposure. Like, he didn't go to Worlds, he didn't go to the ROC Cup last year. He played against Patrick before and beat him. He's, you know, and he wins everything locally. And so for him to get this big win at a super qualifier with, Patrick there and so that was really good for Joe to get the type of win that matches the type of player that he is, because he's always been an innovator, always been, super, super good. So Joe won. That was great. I learned something from this tournament and talking to Aaron Cantu from 2 Clicks from KO, which if you don't listen to that show, you should, because I know a lot of people I talked to didn't like it at first because there's a lot of filler or there's a lot of talk of stuff that's not really competitive. But I would tell you that doesn't really represent the show. The show really is competitive. They do talk about a lot of good stuff. I listen to it every week for the most part, so you really should listen to it. But I was telling Aaron how Joe wasn't playing Kevin's team. Kevin was playing a different version of Joe's team, because Joe, remember, at Leeds, Alabama, played the engineer, Mitzelplick, radioactive man, and basically had the mechanic to be able to get Mitzelplick to click 2 and start doing the lockdown on the teams. And Aaron was saying, well, no. And I was saying the only reason he didn't play Frogman is because Frogman wasn't legal yet from Superior Foes. And Aaron was telling me, well, people are still going to say that Joe copied Kevin's team. And we're going back and forth about how, it wasn't. But then I realized, and Aaron was trying to teach me, that the mechanic of the two teams was completely different. Even though a focal point and a standout is Mitzelplick with the lockdown, on Joe's team, the whole team is based around getting Mitzelplick on click 2 and having engineer as a support and secondary attacker, when actually he almost kills his own Mitzelplick by he gets it to click 2, already double beated. He pushes on to click 3, and then radioactive man hurts himself again to go to click 4, and he's basically killing himself to lock down. And the mechanism's not the same as Jean Grey Ultron drone Mitzi, because the mechanic with Jean Grey is send out Ultron, ID card, pull back, or send out Ultron and send out Mitzi, and it's a totally different mechanic. And I really learned from Aaron, it's not about having commonality of figures, it's about what are the mechanics of the team. Because even though a team can be centered around Mitzelplick, like they had the Devil Dinosaur, Isaiah played Devil Dinosaur, Nighthawk, and Mitzelplick. Even though Mitzelplick is one of the focal points, it's not anything like Jean Grey, Mitzelplick, Ultron. The mechanics are completely different. The speed's different. The strategy is different. And for people that are trying to be competitive, or just new players, or you want to be more competitive, Aaron said that's one of the things that makes Patrick so great, is he can sit down and, regardless of the figures, analyze the mechanism of the team and find out the most crucial gear of that mechanism and target that gear in the team. So shout out to Aaron for teaching me that. I really appreciate that, and that's for free, you guys. For you guys who are learning it. So the basic outline, even though Joe used World's Finest and Pandora's Box, it's still a Jean Grey Ultron team at its core mechanic. So Joe's team is the same skeletal build as Kevin's team, even though Kevin and Joe, their team's different from Isaiah's, and the new Joe team's different from the old Joe team. I got to meet... and I forgot about Eddie. Eddie's another guy who plays with us. He's not officially a part of our team, but we share figures. We play test together for big tournaments. He lives a little farther south than us, but he tries to come up and play as much as possible. And Eddie placed top 8 also. We had 3 players from our group place top 8. and we had a total of 5 go out there. And he played, I think it's the Question, 200-point Question, Nighthawk, and Jean Grey, and Ultron Drone. And people had the power action to use Perplex. I think he had Mystic team ability, and Nighthawk was just throwing salt in the game, and he was using the Ultron drones. Was super good, caught people off guard, and he made top 8 also, so big up to Eddie. I got to meet Patrick. It was awesome to meet him. He's the greatest player in the world. Listen to his podcast, and something that you love, when you can meet somebody who's the greatest at what you love or something that you love, it's always an honor. And he was super nice dude. We didn't get to play in the tournament, so I asked him if he would play after the tournament. He was like, yeah, sure. We played, and the video of our game is going to be on the channel. He played, a team of his FOSS that he made from Superman Wonder Woman, his championship piece, with Jean Grey, Ultron Drone, and Nighthawk Prime. And he beat me because I didn't read the stupid card and know that FOSS has a weird little teleport thing between hindering terrains. And he won, but super nice that he sat down to play with me. I should have got him to sign my sketch Chameleon piece, but I wasn't thinking of it. He invited us to go out and watch the fight at a sports bar after, and we went out, and just a great time of talking clicks and watching the fight, and just great people all around. Great dude, great mind. Justino's cool. Everybody that we went out, shout out to everybody. Great group of guys. If you don't listen to the Majestics podcast, we're subscribed. Go look at my subscriptions. And I'm also subscribed to the site for $3 a month. You get all the insider information. And without that research, you're really, really limited. And if you want to be serious about the game, $3 a month. I mean, if you wanted to get a mentor session from Dark Logos from the Starting Over podcast, it's like $5, $10, $15 for a session. So for $3 a month, you get all the greatest minds of Heroclix. Not to just talk one-on-one, but you get, all the insight. And you get to hear about the ROCs first. So go do that. So the big thing from this is the Quinjet is dead. I can't believe that I'm saying it. So if you're like me and you went out and you got that $100 Atom ID card, and you tried to procure that Nightwing ID card, Nightwing is not a waste, and Atom's not a waste by any means. But if you went through all the trouble to get the Quinjet team, which is very expensive for a Heroclix team, the Quinjet is dead. The Quinjet has to evolve. I think one of the things that it would have to do to evolve is possibly go theme team and win a map role, because against the Krange and also against the Isaiah's Devil Dinosaur Nighthawk team, if I would have won map and had an open map, I had a serious chance to win those games. I mean, a serious chance, because the walls just slows down the jet, and you actually have to full movement with the jet and pop out a real boy, and you don't have the 1-2 combo. If I get the 1-2 combo, it changes everything with the jet. So now looking at Jay Solomon's team, which maybe they had more insight, probably had more insight, and that's why he built the theme team Quinjet, because it deals with a lot of those problems, and he plays on Danny Street map and is able to get those wins. I think that's an interesting way to go. Or maybe it's just using the Captain America, the 50-point one that could power action and move the jet up. But something has to change. I've been experimenting with modding the build, but it has to evolve. And Joker's Wild set will not be out before the ROC Cup, so we won't be getting any new pieces to change the Quinjet. So we're going to have to pull something out of the old stuff. If you have any ideas of how to change the Quinjet to be more viable, please let me know. Please comment. Maybe we'll get some emails or even talk on the phone or something. We got to get this Quinjet evolved, because I really love the Quinjet, but something's got to change. So, a brief recap of the meta. The meta right now, if you don't know, and you need to be playtesting these things and playtesting against these things, is the Ultron drones with Fast Forces, Jean Grey, the Yo-Yo teams. A popular choice to go with that team is the Mxyzptlk Frogman, but don't be fooled. It's not a Mxyzptlk Frogman team. It is a Jean Grey drones team. If you get caught up with the smoke and mirror of the Mitzi and just focus on that, the drones are going to kill you. Ultron will have his way and destroy the universe during your game. The drones are the main threat, and they have a little reward of points, with only being 30 points. And when both of them are on the field, if there's two drones, Nick Fury doesn't get the pumps. So be wary of that. So a popular choice of that's Mitzi Frogman. Krange Evolution is the second yo-yo team, which is Krange as a dragon putting out the pogs. And it's a dragon because you're either going to die a poggy death of poison, and if he brings out the big guy, he has close combat expert, or the ants get exploit, and if you kill those guys you get no points. Or you storm up and bead yourself to position in front of Krange, and then the dragon's there and he's going to protect his lair and he's going to hit you for 6 and 6. Or if the right Ant-Man's out, have perplex, and he's going to hit you for 7 and then 6. So if you, that's why I call it a dragon, because when you putting out 13 clicks of damage and you don't even have to be aggressive, that's crazy, okay? So I think that this team might even put Krange into the top tier, because even the wins against it in the top 8, they weren't clean wins. They weren't easy wins. They were pulling out, and a lot of it was because the mentality of the players, I'll say that. In Isaiah's game, Ricardo was really slow playing, and that came to bite him in the end. That really undid him in the end, was slow playing. No. Was that Isaiah? No, that was Mark. Wait, I don't know who played Isaiah. I think it was Ricardo. Ricardo beat him before the top 8. No, I think Ricardo beat him before the top 8. So in the top 8, Ricardo slow playing really beat him. And in Mark's game, Joe is super unorthodox, to where, like, even if his team has a mechanism, if playing out that excuse me, playing out the team in a standard way, if that's going to hurt him, he will do something different. And I think he lost Mxyzptlk and still went around behind walls, repositioned, moved on with Ultron 6, and took the game from behind against the Krange. So Joe, I think it was just because of how outside of the box his thinking is and how great a player he is, that he never goes on autopilot. And when you go on autopilot, you're dependent on the strength of your team. And it's almost like this is like an anime lesson. Because remember when in Bleach, Zenpachi, he had his Sanpanto, and he didn't even know his Sanpanto's name and couldn't even go Bankai, and he was just dependent on his strength as a player. That kind of in Heroclix represents somebody who refuses to net deck and will only do something that they exclusively made up. But the reverse of that is somebody who they're trusting in their Zongpang To and their Bankai and not in themselves as a fighter. And I think the best teams, when they're played by the best players, are at their optimal. And when you sit down at the table, this is something I'm always relearning, is I can't just depend on the mechanism of my team. I also have to come ready to play. I have to be in the moment. I have to do threat assessment. I have to make the right move. And I have to play the game. And you can't forget that in Heroclix. When you start thinking like, this is my team, this is what it does, I'm going to do what it does, and that's it. When you play against the top tier, that's really what separates a tier 2 or tier 3 player from a tier 1 player. Because the tier 1 player is always going to be in the moment and is not going to be caught off guard. So number 3, the third thing in the meta is Nighthawk teams. A popular choice with Nighthawk is going to be Devil Dinosaur. Straight up. Nighthawk, the price just went back up. I think last week I traded for a second one and sold it for $50. I probably should have kept it and sold it for $65 this week. Because Nighthawk, if you're not playing Jean Grey Ultron drones, you have to be playing Nighthawk. You just have to. I mean, for the most part. Because Krange is going to destroy you. Even Quinjet can take you down if you don't have a Nighthawk. Team number 4, Sinister Syndicate taxi teams. I miscalled this. I thought that it was only going to be good in no tactics, but it was really good in tactics. And it seems like, as a meta choice, you have to play Peggy and you have to play Nightwing. 50-point fast forces Nightwing. Because Nightwing is Nighthawk Jr. and can nullify Krange. So you can outsider Krange. They're feeling safe, right? With the, I have a 19 defense, invulnerable, and then you say, well, actually, you have a 17 defense, and Doc Ock's going to kill you now. Right? So, and the speed of the team to be able to go up to the Dragon's Lair and still get off multiple attacks is so powerful, because the thing of the Quinjet, it could move up there to where Krange is, the Dragon's Lair, and then only get off one attack. Or 2 attacks with a flurry piece. But Doc Ock's making 4 attacks with the taxi. And he's getting an outwit and prop from, if he misses an attack, from, what is his name? From Speed Demon. So it was really, and you're getting the boost from the ID cards. Super, super good. And when you base with Speed Demon, he has combat reflexes, so now you're hitting a 20 on Speed Demon. Even though he doesn't attack that first turn, it's like, I want you to attack Speed Demon because he has a freaking 20. And now that I outsidered your Krange, you're going to have to make that 20 with whatever attack 11 or 10 attack that you have, because, if you position right with Doc Ock, you can actually either do some damage to Krange and kill Justin Seyfried, or kill Justin and kill Baxter Stockman. And if you can do that against Krange in that turn, you have a great chance of winning. I mean, and even if you have Peggy Carter out, and you pull up and they haven't done maybe they went Giant, has a 19 defense, you say, can't use Invincible. No, can't use Invulnerable, because he gets Invulnerable after Impervious. You come up with Doc Ock, you outwit Impervious, you have 11 attack from Speed Demon, Sinister Syndicate team ability, and you're going to hit him for 3. Now he's going to be on Invulnerable. You hit him for a second 3. That is 11. So 3 you're on click 4, 3 you're on click 7, and you hit him again and he's dead. So even if you miss an attack and you hit 3 out of 4 attacks on Krange, Krange's dead. And if you can, if you can do that, that is just powerful. Powerful. Um, Also, theme team is huge. And why is it huge? Because map is huge. That's what we learned from this meta. Map is huge. And something that's going to differentiate great players is the amount of practice on a particular map. So you need to have your maps, and not just because it's in general good for you. You need to practice it and know it. And you need to know what map is horrible for you and practice on that too. Map is huge in this meta. For Joe's School of Heroclix, this is part 2. So part 1 was you have to have access to outwit, perplex, and prob. The most important of those being prob. And instead of outwit, you might need access to a can't use, like from Peggy or Nick Fury. So that's what we had. I think I talked about a little bit, but step 2 for Joe's School of Heroclix. This is for new Heroclix players. I'm doing this because I got a group of guys I'm training how to play right now while I'm on vacation in Georgia. And I'm having to go through this with them, so I figured this would be good for anybody. Step 2 is you got to be able to have a damage output of 6 clicks per turn. When building your force, you have to see, can I put out 6 clicks of damage per turn? And if you don't have that capability, then, you're seriously in trouble. Like even with Isaiah's Nighthawk, Devil Dino, Mitzelplick. Even with that, Nighthawk Prime has Outwit, Devil Dino, and Nighthawk each have 3 damage. So even with just those pieces, not even including the Pogs, you could get out 6 clicks of damage. The Pogs themselves, with Pen Blast, can get out 6 clicks of damage if they each hit. So if you can't do 6 clicks of damage, your team is not... It's not second tier, it's not third tier, it's just not good. And why 6 clicks? Why that number? Because 6 is the mystical number in Heroclix. 6 is the average click in the meta. They're going to have 6 clicks of life. Nick Fury has 6 clicks. I can't think of anything else specifically, but most everything else has 6 clicks or less. Some things have 7 clicks. If you play Solaris at 150, it has 7 clicks, with the 7th click being a stop click. Krange has 8 clicks, but most other things have 6 clicks, and you need to be able to do 6 clicks to get a kill. With that 6 clicks, you need to have access to either penetrating Psychic Blast or Pulse Wave. If I look at your team and you don't have penetrating damage and range damage at that, I'm not talking about exploit weakness, okay? I know they're trying to bring the game in, but don't build a team saying, I'm going to get 6 clicks from this exploit weakness, okay? That's still, even in today's meta, it's kind of a joke, and it's super situational. So you need Pen Blast and you need Pulse Wave. You need one or the other. Pulse Wave is better. Why? Because Pulse Wave is the best power in the game. Because Pulse Wave says, I like what you did here with this build. I think it's super cute, but Pulse Wave. I'm going to Pulse Wave your build. I really like your creativity with your team, but Pulse Wave. Because Pulse Wave shuts down all powers, all game effects. It's the great equalizer. And just straight damage. And so Pulse Wave's the best, but if you can't get Pulse Wave on your team, you need Psychic Blast. Just gotta have it. So far in Joe's School of Heroclix, we've got, you need the three damage powers on your team: Outwit, Perplex, Probability. The most important, Probability. And if you can get some can't use on your team. And second of all, we need to calculate, can I do 6 clicks of damage every turn, or every turn of attacking? So what does that go up to? That goes up to 12 clicks every 3 turns. Can I do 12 clicks every 3 turns? And even Isaiah's team with the Nighthawk and Devil Dino, that's not even a 6 clicks you want to play with. I mean, he was kind of at the other team's mercy for that. You know, you want to be a solid 6 clicks. Like, I'm going to connect with these 6 clicks. And you want either Psychic Blast or Pulse Wave. Because get this, if you do 6 clicks, but they have damage reducers, guess how many clicks you did? You didn't do 6 clicks. You ended up doing 4 clicks. Or you ended up doing 2 clicks because Invulnerability took 2 from the first attack and minus 2 from the second attack, and you actually only did 2 clicks of damage. That's not what I mean. I don't mean have 6 printed damage and be able to give that and they reduce it down. I mean be able to have damage dealt be 6. You got to be able to get through those defenses. If it's invincible, you got to be able to can't use it or outwit it so that you can deal a solid 6. And penetrating Psychic Blast is one of the most common, and Pulse Wave is the best because it says, I don't have outwit right now, but I'm just going to Pulse Wave you in the face. Okay? So that's it. If you got any questions, anything that you'd like to talk about, any strategies you'd like to go over, any team building ideas that you'd like to discuss, I like it because it gets my juices flowing. I don't feel super secretive about team building as of yet, and maybe the top tier players have a reason for doing it that, I get that you don't want other people to know, but there's only so much in the meta. And whatever I'm going to play, I'm going to tweak it, and it's going to be different than what I say. It's not going to be exactly what we say. But if you want to talk about team building concepts or working out an idea, let's talk about it. One of the things I was doing was, is there any other robot that Justin can make it Sentinel and it be powerful? Let's go through the HC realms. Let's see. So I like to talk about any of that. Big ups to everybody. Big up to our team. If you got any team idea suggestions, let us know because it's just getting out of hand with Joe and Todd. We were going to be called Holy Ground Games because that's the name of Joe's store. And, we have a pending sponsorship for travel that's going on. But it sounds lame. And then we're going to be called Holy Knights because I'm a pastor. Todd's a minister at church with me. We have the store is called Holy Grounds, and we have a strong, spiritual connotation. So we're going to be Holy Knights, but I don't really like that either. So let us know if you think of something. I said, well, we're not going to say that. We're actually going to keep that. Close. Never mind what I was going to say. But if you got any good ideas, let us know. Have a great day. And remember, when you play clicks, you better play to win.